Uncharted. Yeah. Woo. The time is finally over. Uncharted is in theaters, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on the movie. Hey, everybody. I am Robert Storms. Welcome back to the channel once again. If you guys are finding me for the very first time, please do me a massive favor. Hit that thumbs up and subscribe button. That way you guys can stay up to date on all future content here on the channel. So this was a movie that I very much have been on the fence about. The trailers really didn't sell me all that much. Like, I don't want baby Nathan Drake and Mark Wahlberg. I don't know who the hell he was, but he wasn't Sully. And then you had Chloe in here, and then you see scenes from Uncharted 3, and I just didn't know what to expect from this movie. Now, I am a massive Uncharted fan. Massive. Own all the games, played them multiple times. Uncharted is a franchise that every time there's a new game, I'm there day one to pick it up, to play through that game. Naughty Dog, let's hurry up and get a fifth one out, okay? Leave Last of Us alone. Give us Uncharted 5. So I was really on the fence with this because I didn't really like the trailers. I did tons of videos on this. I was like, why are you going with the young Nathan Drake? Like, that was the worst part of the video games. And just, why are you going to do that? And Mark Wahlberg and all this. So how do I actually feel about this movie stepping out now? Was it the biggest piece of shit I've ever seen? Is it another failed video game movie? Surprisingly, no. I actually really enjoyed this movie. Yes, color me shocked, but I actually really did enjoy this movie. This movie brought a lot of things in it, and it felt like a lot of things I really enjoyed that I seen from the video games, and it translated over. It actually, even though it's a lot different than the video game, it pays a lot of respect to the games, and it doesn't bastardize the characters or the video game like a lot of movies do. I'm looking at you, Mortal Kombat, Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City. Like, those two movies that came out, you know, a few months ago and last year, those movies were awful. Like Resident Evil, like they completely just bastardized all the characters. Mortal Kombat, they sat there and created a whole new character that wasn't in the game, and then just gave them all this exposition so newcomers to the franchise can understand, even though you could have literally just did that with Liu Kang. You didn't have to make a new character. Obviously, guys, I am not over it. I'm still not over it. But luckily for me, Uncharted isn't that. Uncharted feels like Uncharted. A lot of my friends told me that this movie was very, very slow and very, very boring in the beginning, right? That was the one thing I heard from everybody. Like this movie is very, very boring, very, very slow in the beginning, and it picks up toward the end. And I don't really see it that way. I feel like the beginning of this movie, which I really liked, really sets up the characters. Why Nathan is the way Nathan is, why Sully is the way Sully is. And I really, really enjoyed the back and forth through these characters, getting to know who Sully is, getting to know who Chloe is, getting to know the villains and the purpose and why they're doing what they're doing. And I enjoyed all that. And when you play these video games, there's a lot of times in these games where the characters are talking and they're trying to solve puzzles and they're trying to put keys in holes and doing, like, not everything's all out shootout. And they do have action scenes spread throughout the first half of this movie. And yes, the action does pick up toward the end of the movie, much like a lot of the video games. The action picks up toward the end of the movie. The one thing that I wanted to see more in this movie, and I'm glad that they actually did it, was I wanted them to play the iconic Uncharted theme music. And they actually did. Toward the end of this movie, when Nathan actually gets his gun holster, vest, they actually start to play the music, and I'm like, all right, this feels like Uncharted. This absolutely feels like Uncharted, and I really enjoyed having that. And there's like a lot of little Easter eggs in there for fans of the game. Even Nolan North having a cameo, the actor who voices Nathan Drake in the video game, like showing up and then playing that Uncharted music, like it was really, really good. And they really did a really good job, really, doing everything with his brother Sam and all that stuff. Like, they really pretty much stay true to all the stuff from the games. And yes, even though this movie isn't canon to the games, which I'm glad it's not, we already got the games. You don't need to do word for word, scene for scene from the games. Take liberties from the games and then do your own thing, but stay true to the characters. Unlike other movies like Mortal Kombat, or say it with me, guys, Welcome to Raccoon City, where they try to emulate the game, but they also bastardized the entire movie. Like Jill, Wesker, Leon, boy, Leon. What did they do to you, Leon? What did they do to you, Leon S. Kennedy? What did they do to you, buddy? But this movie actually pays a lot of respect to those characters. Chloe felt like Chloe. Nathan felt like Nathan. The only biggest gripe I have is Mark Wahlberg as Sully. This guy doesn't act anything or sound anything or even look anything like Sully from the video games. Now, they do kind of add a little post-credit scene. I think they heard some of the backlash from fans, and I think they kind of did this like little post-credit scene, and they kind of tacked it on toward the end of the movie. Like, I don't know if it was originally supposed to be a part of the movie, but it felt like they heard backlash and they tacked it on because Sully shows up at the end of the post-credit scene. He's got the like Hawaiian shirt going, he's got a cigar in his pocket, and he's got the mustache, and I'm like, okay, all right, maybe in the next movie we're gonna get Sully. Because even though Mark Wahlberg didn't feel, sound, or look like Sully, his dialogue in which he talked, the script sounded like it was meant for Sully. So if Mark Wahlberg, if they do get a sequel, which I'm really hoping they do, because I did find the movie enjoyable, hopefully it makes enough money to get a sequel, they can build upon that and start giving him more, Mark Wahlberg taking more serious and actually play the role more like Sully. Overall, the movie, I thought, was very true to an Uncharted film that you're going to get. No, it's not the fan film that we got with Nathan Fillion, but, you know, of course, Hollywood, there's certain politics that go into it, but overall, I thought Tom Holland did a really good job in the role of Nathan Drake. I actually believed him as Sir Nathan Drake, and I want to see them build more on this. I want to see what they're going to do with the sequel, bring Atlanta in, let's see more of Chloe, see what they do. One of the things that kind of dawned on me toward the end of this movie was, if you ever played any of the Uncharted games, toward the end of each game, there's like a supernatural thing that happens. Like they find a treasure and unleashes some kind of supernatural thing. Whether people start turning into like monsters, or there's like something that makes you kind of dizzy or something. Like always some kind of supernatural. There was nothing. This was very straightforward. Treasure hunt. Bad guys want the treasure. Good guys want the treasure. They're going to fight it out. And for that, it was really, really good. Some of the special effects looked great. Some of the special effects didn't look so good. So it is what it is at this point. As the video game movie goes, there are a lot worse video game movies out there. 100%. I have seen a lot worse video. This is one of the better ones. This is up there, I feel, personally, with a Sonic the Hedgehog or Detective Pikachu. It felt like Sony actually was like, okay, we're going to take this serious. We're going to put a budget behind it, and we're actually going to, you know, care about this franchise and see if they can do something with it. You have Tom Holland, who's like a superstar right now, and I don't think you needed Mark Wahlberg to sell the movie, because Tom Holland is such a great actor and great name right now in Hollywood with Spider-Man No Way Home. So hopefully, if they get a second one, Mark Wahlberg does better, or I would say just replace Mark Wahlberg altogether, because overall, I thought that Mark Wahlberg was the actual weakest link of this movie. But if you're a fan of the games, like I am, and you're someone like me who was very skeptical on the trailers, not liking much of the reviews coming out, I would say go see it anyway. I was this close to not going to see this movie because I was like, I don't know if I want to see this movie. Like, it's getting horrible reviews. But as an Uncharted fan, I had to go see it, and I left the theater pleasantly surprised. Not a 4-star, 10 out of 10 movie. I would give this movie a solid B and a solid 7 out of 10. I thought it was enjoyable, and if you're a fan of Uncharted, I highly recommend it. I thought all the actors, besides Mark Wahlberg, did a fantastic job doing their video game counterparts, and I thought the movie was very entertaining and true to what makes Uncharted such a great video game franchise. So everybody, that's my thoughts on Uncharted. Be sure to leave those comments in the comment box below. Smash that like button, subscribe. Until next time, as always, just remember, it's not raccoon shitty. Anyway, guys, you guys have a good night. Later.